Coach, how are things in beautiful El Paso, Texas?
They're going well. We're having a lot of hot weather out here. It's gonna look like it's gonna rain, so we're a little bit excited for that. But it's going well.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be a welcome respite now especially here in the deep summer. Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about taking over there at Eastlake. You took over late in the summer last year, in June, when Coach J.J. Calderon took over at the Socorro ISD athletic director job.
Right.
I'm interested. Obviously, you haven't had like a full off season this year because of circumstances. But do you feel more comfortable now in the job than you did a year ago when you got it?
Absolutely. Time takes care of all that, and unfortunately, we were cut short this spring and didn't have an opportunity for spring ball. But one thing to note is I've been with the program for 10 years. Coach Cal and I have worked together for 20 years or so. And so when we came over to Eastlake, he did me a favor and gave me a job. So we had a big hand in what was going on with our kids. And there was a lot of, familiar situations with what we were trying to do and what we were trying to go with the program. We expected a great year last year, and, they capitalized that. The kids played really well, responded well. It was a slight adjustment period to all the paperwork and all the other duties that come with the position. But as far as it being comfortable with football, it's 100% full go now.
Did you feel like, kind of looking at the way your season went on, did you feel like, it seems to me that you guys grew every week, and it seemed like as you guys were getting later in the year, you guys were playing your best ball. Was that the feeling kind of within the locker room, within the coach's office as well?
Yeah, the one thing that needed to be, we had Orion Olivas, and he had missed a big portion of his sophomore year, and he needed to get adjusted. And it didn't help that we were missing some key components in the offense and missing a couple of guys on defense. So, we knew where we wanted to be at a certain point of the year, and obviously playing the best that we could during district. But in not having to rush guys back from injury, that was a big part of our plan. And, once we were able to get everybody going and firing in all cylinders, it paid off for us, obviously, being able to win the district championship.
You guys are, I mentioned it was an odd off season. I'm always interested in hearing from coaches about how you guys were how you're able to stay connected with your guys. Obviously right now, things are strange. You guys weren't able to get together, during spring football. How were you staying connected with your guys, and how was this off season maybe different from other off seasons you've been involved in?
Well, obviously, the COVID-19 situation didn't help very much, and so we did the best we could. We logged on to Zoom, and we kind of stayed committed to the plan that we had. We had our off season start, December 1st, and we had 26 weeks to prepare ourselves for spring ball. When that time frame came around to spring ball, obviously we were already, on a delay, and we continued with it. We obviously needed to get real creative with the Zoom meetings and stuff like that, but our insertion schedule, both for offense and defense, were really, really put in place. There was obviously no tackling and no one-on-one drills or anything like that, but I felt like we got a lot better, with what we had to deal with and how we made it work.
We're talking with Ruben Rodriguez, the head coach of the El Paso Eastlake Falcons here on Texas Football Today. Get involved with the conversation at #TF Today. Coach, you mentioned his name a little bit earlier, but the name to know for your squad is Orion Olivas, your outstanding quarterback, who was a 3,800-yard passer. He was just sensational for you guys last year. He strikes me as the kind of guy that, I say this all the time, that if he were putting up these types of numbers in the DFW Metroplex, everybody would be going gaga over him. You're the guy who gets to see him every day in practice. If you haven't seen his film, I recommend our viewers go and check out his film. Orion Olivas is an outstanding quarterback, but you're the guy who gets to see him every day in practice. What is it about Orion that really makes him special?
You know what? He's got a great mentality. His parents and himself have really committed themselves to being the best football player that he can be, and he's actually a really good basketball player. He's probably one of the top 10 players in the state in this class. And that's something that really helps him on the field. He's a hard worker. He's always real competitive in what he does. He kind of feels a little bit under-recruited to a certain extent. But that's something that hopefully, once we get going, some other people will come. I know he's committed to Houston Baptist, but he's got a great work ethic. He's a great leader. He's a great kid in the community. He's really involved in what we're doing for, the long-haul plan for our program as far as getting better, and competing at a higher level, and also being visual in the community is important for him. And he's just really a guy that comes around once in a while. I can't say that, hopefully they can prove me wrong, but I don't know that we'll have another player like that come around Eastlake for a while.
I want to talk a little bit about your defense. Last year there were times where your defense flashed and really looked like things were getting put together, and other times where they struggled a little bit. How do you guys take that next step defensively? Because it seems like, to me, if you guys, especially with the offensive firepower you're going to bring back, if that defense can take a next step, then it seems like you guys are really cooking with gas. How do you guys take that next step defensively?
Well, like I said, this kind of put a little bit damper. I think this spring would have been really big for what we want to do with our kids defensively. But, the inexperience got us early. We did lose a big defensive tackle in Rolando Beltran to graduation, but we returned a big portion of the defense, primarily in the secondary, where we actually started 3 sophomores. Those guys have gained a year of experience, and our linebacker core is really, really experienced. And the concern right now is up front, depth-wise. We got to be able to play better up front. But I think that, going over to an out front and making a 100% commitment to that front and the schemes, I think kids have really bought in. And, our experience at that side of the ball is going to be a big reason of why we'll have some success this year.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about realignment. You guys are making the move up from 5A up to Class 6A. You're thrown in District 1 with the other the El Paso 6A district with Americas and Eastwood and Montwood and Franklin. A lot of the heavy hitters, Pebble Hills, a lot of the heavy hitters there in the El Paso scene. This is a district that has 6 teams that made the playoffs last year. Only 4 can make the playoffs this year.
And that's
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, that's a big push. I mean, there's a lot of parity in the district. I like our chances. I know we're up for the challenge. We prepared ourselves over the last couple of years. Coach Calderon did a good job of getting us to play those schools and get familiar with what's going on in that district. But we're excited about the opportunity. I don't think a lot of people are excited about us coming in the sense of you guys being able to give us some credit and acknowledge the type of team that we're capable of being. But, it's going to be a battle. I think that with Eastwood moving up with us as well, and then the parity that was already there and the great players in the district, I think that, it's going to be a great challenge. But, we're excited. We're excited. We're ready to get it on and play it week by week and, just try to win as many as we can.
And I know that you guys are, especially there with the coaching staff and that you guys have. I know you're looking at this district and there's a lot of good teams there, a lot of really well-coached teams there in District 1 6A. Is this a conversation you're having with your players about moving up to 6A? Is that something you're talking about, or is it just 6 inches in front of your nose, take care of what we can take care of?
You know what? It's a little bit of both. I think they understand that, and we're an up and coming area in El Paso, so we're starting to populate ourselves with more kids, which obviously makes us move up in classification. But this was a long time coming. I think we just missed the realignment to 6A the last 2 years ago, and we just tell our kids we got to be ready to play. It doesn't really matter who we're playing, and no disrespect to opponents or anything like that, but we're looking at week 1. Hopefully we're scheduled to play on time and get ready for that and just get better every week like we did last year and put ourselves in a position to, make the state playoffs.
He's Ruben Rodriguez. He's the head coach of the El Paso Eastlake Falcons. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on a fantastic 2019 season.
Awesome.
Please take care and best of luck down the road.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and go Falcons.
There he goes, Ruben Rodriguez, the head coach of the El Paso Eastlake Falcons.